intellect. Many remember his infamous Christmas tweet, but many don't know that even this was factually wrong. Newton wasn't born on Christmas Day, but, by today's calendar, sometime in January. Oh, and by the way, Neil, Newton was a devout Christian who said the laws of nature were an expression of the divine will of God, just like a lot of the other guys you look up to, whom you conveniently forget to mention were men of faith. Tyson has a complex relationship with the Almighty. He loves to bait Christians despite claiming, at least some of the time, to be agnostic. Incredibly, he believes that Christians have no right at all to call Scientology crazy. His silly, provocative comparisons between Christianity and Scientology are becoming a regular thing. Needless to say, the argument against Scientology isn't restricted to its goofy belief system, or even that it's essentially a tax dodge cooked up by a bad sci-fi writer. Rather, Scientology is a litigious, dangerous cult that cuts impressionable people off from their family and friends and brainwashes them into handing over their money and devoting their lives to its comically absurd strictures. Tyson pretends he doesn't understand basic theology when responding to questions about the problem of evil. Here, we are on Earth, the perfect habitat for humanity, with a million random variables somehow ending up in our favor, and the most Tyson can say is, every account of higher power that I've seen described, of all the religions that I've seen, include many statements with regard to the benevolence of that power. When I look at the universe, and all the ways the universe wants to kill us, I find it hard to reconcile that with statements of beneficence. Neil deGrasse-Tyson is a Philistine with no love of learning except for popularizations and oversimplifications that serve his political purpose. Just look what happens when he's asked about the study of philosophy. I don't have time for that. Asking too many questions, he says, can really mess you up. For someone who so obviously wants to be a laureate and who is said to be lobbying hard for this behind the scenes, his attitude is unprecedented, and his mystifyingly proud, deliberate ignorance an affront to science. For all his pontificating about climate change and the evil of guns, Tyson seems unable to grasp some basic ethical realities. For instance, that science without ethics or philosophy is likely to produce weapons and all manner of stomach-churning experiments in cloning on babies, stem cells, and animals. It's not like we haven't seen this happen in history. Tyson actively ridicules those of us who ask us to consider the moral implications of our actions. He does all this with unearned and undeserved vanity and intergalactic ego. He once even said, scientists are smart and doctors are stupid. Tyson constantly situates himself in the big brain league, but he has done nothing in his life to demonstrate that he belongs there, and a lot to suggest that he doesn't. Not for Neil deGrasse Tyson, the lowly, humble, intellectually curious aspect of the modest lab researcher. And then there are the exaggerated claims. Tyson claims to have been mentored by Carl Sagan, for instance, yet it appears that his mentorship boils down to little more than a couple of traded letters. If Tyson thinks that qualifies as mentorship, I wonder what he'd call my nocturnal liaisons with other men who share his skin color. Adoption? As dumb as Tyson is, his fans are even more preposterously thick, which is probably to be expected, given that they're all liberals. But to the extent which they hoover up and retweet his contradictory and brainless provocations is matched only by the hilarity of their occasional social justice car crash, in which the politics of grievance, that like Tyson likes to encourage, comes back to bite him. Does anyone learn anything from Tyson's pop-sci pronouncements? Who knows? But what little they do glean from his persnickety commentary on Star Wars versus Star Trek, and his nitpicking about Interstellar and Gravity, is called into question when his own shows make the same errors, and his grasp of accuracy, sourcing, and even-handedness are shaky, to put it mildly. There's a silver lining to Tyson's outsized notoriety, of course, and it's that the internet always hurts the ones it loves. Outside of Reddit, and even within it, Tyson is known primarily as a meme. He has been reduced to a clutch of vacuous, funny sound bites and obnoxious reaction images sprayed across image boards. Tyson has been relegated to a place of widely known obscurity, where little is known about his ill-thought-out opinions, and he is instead celebrated for his facial expressions and his attention-seeking media persona. Everyone knows his face, but few know or care to discover anything about the man or the views behind it. If you ask me, that's a fitting tribute. Milo Yiannopoulos, the dangerous faggot, was formerly found at Nero on Twitter and can be found at Breitbart.com. There it is, folks. The bad machine Jim Dynamo and the dangerous faggot Milo Yiannopoulos have laid down the law. There are dumb bastards, and then there is America's Minstrel of Science, Neil deGrasse-Tyson, a man clueless to the very same history taught in New York City public schools, not beneficiary to the same big budgets that the Bronx High School of Science had access. Neil deGrasse-Tyson is another glaring example of affirmative action, America's policy of failure. All Bronx High School of Science student bodies pass under the quote, "Every great advance in science has issued from a new audacity of imagination." This sentiment remains the single axiom where scientific endeavor is concerned, and men and women who actually understand science toil in anonymous silence to that end, while the Cosby Kid caricature, Neil deGrasse-Tyson, continues to baffle America with his bullshit. Neil deGrasse-Tyson is to science as Barack Hussein Obama is to politics, a lucky amateur who cried white racist all the way to the head of the class, where his intellectual shortcomings and ignorant bias cannot be excused or occulted by bell curves and unconstitutional quotas. Neil deGrasse-Tyson is no man of science. He is no Einstein. He is no Tesla. He is no Pasteur, no Copernicus, nor an Isaac Newton. No, Neil deGrasse-Tyson is just the head usher at the Hayden Planetarium, where he does not even possess the intellectual gravitas to dare request Carl Sagan remove his hush-puppy-shod shoes from the back of the planetarium chair that he's lounging. Neil deGrasse-Tyson is the poster boy of weaponized political bias and state-controlled science, Lysenkoism and blackface. Ignorant, race-baiting, and whining, Neil deGrasse-Tyson's performance is a veritable black mark on science and a cancer to the imagination.
First, I want out of here. Second, y'all gonna pay for my daughter's whole education, best schools. And then I want her to go to college, like Harvard or Yale.
Ivy League.
Ivy League, yeah, one of them big joints, you know. Mm-hmm. And if she can't cut it and her grades start slipping, I need you white people that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know how y'all do.
Oh, yeah.
All right? Now that's my price, but I'm concerned because I don't see nobody writing shit down.
Not to be afraid is a good thing in scientific matter. It is clear you are not scientific.
You've been listening to Jim Dynamo's Bad Machine. Be part of the radio revolution by following our Twitter page @BadMachineRadio and by visiting Jim Dynamo's Bad Machine on Facebook. Bad Machine is a one-man media production, the exclusive owner of all original content. Otherwise, no rights are reserved. 2016.